it's pretty easy to assume that most men's needs are going to be very, very cute, right? You know, 3, maybe 5, right? But then we get to the women, they don't always know what they want or need. My thing is, with this particular woman, 8 failed relationships, listening is an issue.
This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatrey, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
In the YouTube space, you have what's called, it's kind of like this group, this community called the manosphere. And they talk about issues from a male's perspective.
Are we in there?
No.
Because we have you.
Well, we got some content. Okay.
There you go.
Go on.
Welcome. So, in this sphere is like a bunch of content creators. Kevin Samuels will be considered part of the manosphere. Where also you're starting to see women get into this space and actually talk about things that they're seeing women do, holding them accountable and so on and so forth. So Pink Book Lessons happens to be an example of such YouTube channel. So they had a video that came out recently from a page called 8 at the Table. And they had, it's mixture of men and women talking about relationship, issues, challenges, topics, whatever, right? And so what they was actually talking about in this particular clip is one of the guys was talking about a woman who has dated, had 8 relationships, failed dating relationships, never got proposed to. But I think each of those guys went on to get engaged and married.
Or have successful relationships. After
her, right? And so she's still single. And so they were talking about, okay, at this point, should she start looking internally at herself to determine what's going on with her? So you had different responses to that. One female kind of alluded to the fact that, well, just because a person gets married doesn't mean that it's a healthy relationship or whatever.
Just a fact.
But there were then led to conversations about, one of the brothers said, listen, the issue is that women just don't listen, which I thought was hilarious because not long after he said that, the women started,
right.
That was the irony in that was just clutch, right? So it was just different talking points. One woman made a particular point. I'll get to one something that I wanted to ask you guys, but this was all centered around a woman who've had 8 failed relationships, and all the guys have gone on to have successful relationships, even get married. What are y'all's thoughts? You had some thoughts about it, and Gatrey, you was all over it.
Yeah.
What made you feel like this was very compelling?
Just because, man, it's based off conversations, a lot of which we've had off air, which I know isn't fair to the listeners, but when I watched this, I thought about something the 3 of us talked about in terms of how easy it is for men to identify what we need.
Okay.
Right. And so it kind of went without saying that across the landscape of men, it's pretty easy to assume that most men's needs are going to be very, very cute. Right. 3, maybe 5. Right. Mm-hmm. And then here we go. Derek Jackson doesn't have music. But then we get to the women. It's quite easy for me to believe that they don't always know what they want or need. So my thing is, with this particular woman, 8 failed relationships. Yeah. Listening is an issue. Because I'm taking on the context of, I don't know this guy personally, but taking on the context of what we've discussed, I don't think this man's needs in terms of scope would be that saturated. So my thing is, if he's only got a few things he needs, if you were to listen and to take that in, actively listen and take that in, maybe you got 4 failed relationships instead of 8.
Right. Okay. Black, let me ask you this. Do you think that for the most part, society only encourages women to focus primarily or solely on what they need and not what the man needs?
Why didn't you ask me that?
Because it's a conversation for all of us. I'm just asking you guys different questions.
You can answer after I finish. I don't mind.
You can chime in afterwards too.
I think
he is here. You do know that, right? It's not just you and me.
How long you been here?
Okay, this could be your camera from now.
Thanks.
Now, what I was gonna say is that to your question, I think nowadays it is like most recently that's how society probably like encourages women, but like in the past, no. I think they were more focused on like marriage and families, but that hadn't been the focus lately in society.
Yeah. So do you think it really has become a very self-centered society in terms of it's about me and what I want?
Yeah, because it seems like nowadays women, and whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it seems like they really need to like have security. And if getting that security means they have to do everything for themselves, that's what they're going to do. So they're going to put their security, their future, everything else, like that's going to be a priority. And that's like with or without a man. And in most cases, it's been without a man.
But let me ask you this, though. But even if it is with a man, you never take the next step to determine, hey, he has some wants. Right? Mm-hmm. And maybe the reason that he may not be picking you is that just like you have filtered men out of your list, or you have eliminated men, you could be being eliminated because you have it hasn't even dawned on you that men have standards too. Mm-hmm. Right? And the guy who may meet your standard, you may not be meeting his. Right?
Right.
And so I think when you get to the whole listening aspect, the guys are telling you, hey, this is what I need from you. But if I've been pandered to by society, right, and I'm always right, you know, they say, and sometimes we reinforce this even as husbands and in marriage. We like, well, she's the boss, right? And it's almost like the sentiment or what's being affirmed in women is that you can't be wrong. And so you end up going from relationship to relationship thinking you're right. He was just tripping, girl. He's trifling.
Mm-hmm. All my points are valid.
Right. And he has none. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
You're cooking, Walker, and just to add a little bit of spice to that, or a little bit of validity to that, you and I've talked about it, especially like in TV, like in American TV, the role that the man takes, especially like when it's a black family portrayed, it's usually a backseat to the woman. Like for some kind of reason, society has really leaned into this, augmenting the woman.
Right.
So yeah, I say all that to say I'm with you.
So is it I mentioned something that you agreed with, Gat, and one of the women said that, yeah, just because they get married doesn't mean it's a healthy relationship. You said that is a true statement.
Just because that, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that too.
Right.
But when she said that, like, you were just processing it as that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a deflection.
Yeah.
I thought she was purely deflecting, which goes right into
the point.
The whole listening part.
Yeah.
Because that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, okay, let's accept her premise. Let's just accept it. It's what, 50% divorce rate? Let's just assume all 8 of them got married. All 8 of the guys got married. Okay. Let's just accept her premise that just because they get married doesn't mean it's a good relationship. They could not be healthy. Maybe. Right? Mm-hmm. We accept that premise. So let's just say 4 of the 8 had no business getting married. What that tells me is that you missed out on 4 husbands. Because there were 4 that are married. that are still married, right? You missed on 4 of them. There are some women out here that don't get that many opportunities. So obviously we're talking about a very attractive woman.
I didn't think about that part.
We're talking about a very attractive woman to have that many opportunities, right?
Was it the woman sitting on the far left in the clip?
No. They were just talking in general. Like, so I think
you know how you
I
have
think,
like
I think
the
someone,
Reddit forums.
Yeah, I think
I was
someone
about to solidify her attractiveness.
She was attractive though.
Yeah, she was.
But she was the one that was trying to like spread the blame. Like it could be the man, it could be the
Right.
woman. Like no,
it takes 2 to tango, da da da. But I'm like, no, but you're the common denominator. Like this woman is the common denominator, sis. So at some point, it took me 2 relationships that had similar outcomes for me to be like, all right,
I need to change.
what's going on with me? You know what I mean? I didn't have to keep going down a cycle, right? And I think it's so easy for people. It's so easy to just continue, especially if you're very attractive and it comes easy for you. Meeting people and dating comes easy because of your value in the dating market. It's easy for you to just move on to someone else and not deal with your stuff. It's in singleness and solitude when it gets real quiet where you got to deal with you, if you so choose to. And for the woman who's had that many opportunities, you can't, at some point you have to acknowledge, yeah, we're accepting your deflection, ma'am, that not all those relationships are going to pan out or be healthy. Let's just take 50% because that's the percentage of marriages.
That's fair.
But you missed 4 husbands. Why did you miss 4 husbands? And that's the question that a person has to, that woman has to ask herself. Why did she miss out on 4 husbands? What you got?
You're making me think about a lot. I don't know if I can share this.
What would prevent you from sharing?
And why would you preface it if you can't share it?
Because it may contain spoilers. I'm applying what you're saying to Insecure.
Oh boy.
Go ahead.
Should I stay? If I need to
warn the listeners.
Yes, these comments may contain spoilers.
If you're into Insecure, are you talking about season 5?
No. I'm talking about before season 5. I'm talking about up to season 4.
If you haven't seen it yet, that's your bad. Go ahead.
The show's been out a long time.
It's been out a while.
If I'm watching it, it's been out entirely too long. But I think about Molly's character, right? Mm-hmm. And Molly kind of going through the same thing. Like she is realizing where I am now. She's realizing like her past relationships with good guys are all ending in a similar way, right? So I think about the maturation of Molly and her reluctance to really look into herself and see what is it about me, right? She's even gone to therapy, right? And it's still she tried it. She tried it.
She went to a building. Go ahead.
Right. but like your comments are making me think, what is it about women that make them so reluctant to change when you've got this many key experiences that are happening right in front of you?
I don't know if that's an exact list. I think it's exhaustive, right? But I think one thing that I can hint on for a lot of women is that they feel they've convinced themselves that they have a lot of time.
When in reality,
you got a small window.
They do, because who talks about the bio clock? Women.
Yeah.
Guys will never bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, to your point about Molly, the thing she kept saying that was troubling was she kept saying should. She kept saying all the things that she should have.
Right.
And when she didn't have those things she felt she should have, that would ruin relationships. Like she felt like she deserved a certain level of certain things. And she need to focus on what she actually can have and what she actually should have than what she should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I will say to that point, Black. I was gonna wait and share this, but I'll go ahead and just put it out there now, just so I can reiterate it at a later time when we have more guests on. Is I'm married to my beautiful wife. Next year it'll be 10 years, Gatrey, that we'll be married. You're on year 12 or 13?
13.
13.
Yeah.
So it'll be 14 next year. Or will it be 13 next year? Which one?
Dude, I don't
He
know.
got to call his wife.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll do the math later. So what I've learned in being married is marriage is about service. And society isn't teaching people that. A lot of people look at the relationship from the standpoint of we've taken our cues from Hollywood. It's going to be this amazing, exhilarating experience, euphoric experience. We both got bags. We both taking trips. The sex is incredible. It's exhilarating. When they poop, it smells like potpourri. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just fantasy. But what makes once you get in there, it's about service to one another. And that's where the work comes into play. But when I see a lot of people dating, it's never about what can I bring into this relationship. Going back to the Molly's example. She never thought about, hey, what can I bring into this for this guy? How can I be of assistance to him? This is a good dude. How can I make his world even better? Right? It's about me. It's about what I want. It's about what I deserve. It's about, and if you don't fit into this fantasy that I've conjured up for myself, then you're not good enough. I'm settling. I'm this, I'm that. And what ends up happening is women start going through, and men as well, but I see it with women. You start going through guys, and then you get down the road in life and look back like, ugh. I let some guys go that I probably shouldn't have. Once it hits you that, hey, you're running out of time, fertility is starting to dwindle, you got to get in where you fit in. And these standards that a lot of people have and it's not so much that you're settling, it's that you're realizing what's really important. Right? And so what I would just tell people is, instead of worrying about what other folk are doing out in this dating world, worry about yourself, because you have to bring something into this relationship in order for it to be something of substance. Mm. You have to. A better me makes a better us. Remember, you learned that from my in-laws when they did I learned that when I start working on me, our marriage got even better. But I was always looking for her to stop doing this, or her to change, her to do this. But when I started working on me, our marriage took off. The principle still works in dating. Work on yourself. And then you don't have to have these 8, 9, 10 exes who were tripping and who da-da-da-da-da. If you work on yourself, someone's going to see you and realize, I can't do life without you. You're what I need. You're what I'm looking for. When you do the work, when you find out what men need, become that, work on yourself, and have the mentality that, hey, I am one half of a team of servants in this marriage, and I'm here to do my part, my duty, my role. Right?
Right.
When you have that mentality, someone will find you. I'm convinced of it, because we're looking as men.
True.
We're looking for it. And stop allowing society to pander to you and tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. And you should, back to that sister that started all of this, you have to start learning from your experiences. That's the big problem. You're not getting better as a person. If you're not getting better, you're going to... People who find themselves in the same cycle aren't growing. Simple as that. Right. You're just not growing. Because if you start growing, you'll realize, you know what? I've seen this movie before. I've seen this. This ain't good. You know what I mean? But if I'm just going through you keep running to the same chick, the same female, the same outcome, you're not growing. Because you should have seen that a mile ago. You got to do the work on yourself and grow to where you know what you want and what you don't want. So that when you do see it, a hint of it, you ain't entertaining that. Right?
Right.
So when we say, go ahead.
What do women need to listen to?
What do women need to listen to?
Yeah. Just going back to this topic.
Single women?
Yeah. Yeah.
Single women, here's what single women need to do. Single women need to find some married men that they trust. I'll wait. You good? No, take your time. Take your time. Collect yourself. Me and Black will be here when you're ready.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay. Find some married men some co-workers, friends, and start asking them questions. What makes you, what's the best thing you like about your wife? And just listen. What are some things you wish your wife would do? And just listen.
So not necessarily listen to the man.
What do you mean?
Taking the context of the single woman, 8 failed relationships. From your answer, she needs to go to
therapy.
And listen to the therapist.
Okay,
but not necessarily the men she's dating. Because that's how I took it.
Okay, let's start over. You're asking, what does that woman need to listen to? That woman needs to go to therapy.
And also, if she's brave enough, ask the men
that she dated, where did I go wrong?
Ooh.
And take that to therapy with her therapist and work that out.
I'm catching chills for all the Black women listening.
She needs to ask her 8 guys in good faith what was the biggest headache about me in each of them, and take that straight to her therapist and get to work. Now, for single women, you need to start having conversations in good faith with some married men, good dudes, and ask them, what are some things, and see the things they tell you, write it down, and start thinking about applying that thing. Because these are dudes who you respect. So if you want a guy like that, why don't you take cues from them in terms of what they want? Don't talk to your girlfriends. Don't talk to other women. Stop talking to them. Talk to men because you want a man. Get him to tell you and lay out for you what you should work on in your singleness.
No vibes from that?
No. I think it's a tall order, but I agree.
Tall order and what?
To listen?
To listen?
Women got to get over themselves to do that, and that's not happening anytime soon. Because we talked about it, how we are in society right now, about how we treat women. Which I'm not saying. Well, I am saying it's a bad thing, but this pedestal we're building is just
building it.
It's too strong at this point for a woman to ever think.
Well, some famous person once said, then if you're not going to do it, then buy a dog.
I mean, just look at the results.
Wow. Buy a dog. You ain't got to do it. You don't have to do it at all. You can continue to think your ish don't stink.
You keep running to a brick wall.
You can continue to think that. Time is ticking.
Keep Your Point Podcast.